Welcome back, everyone. Here's your full SPY and stock market recap covering everything that happened from the opening bell at 9:30 a.m. Eastern through the after-hours session ending around 4:30 p.m. Eastern. The market entered today with strong momentum as investors continued balancing major themes driving stocks right now: strong corporate earnings, elevated treasury yields, inflation concerns, and expectations surrounding the Federal Reserve. At the open, SPY moved higher as buyers continued rotating into megacap tech and AI-related names. Early strength came from optimism surrounding strong earnings growth across the S&P 500, especially in semiconductors, cloud computing, and AI infrastructure companies. During the first hour of trading, momentum remained strongest in technology and growth stocks. Traders focused heavily on Nvidia, Microsoft, Amazon, Meta, and Alphabet as institutional money continued flowing into companies benefiting from AI spending and data center expansion. By mid-morning, volatility increased after economic data and interest rate concerns pushed Treasury yields higher. Investors continued reassessing expectations for Federal Reserve rate cuts after resilient labor market data and persistent inflation pressures reduced hopes for aggressive easing later this year. That became one of the key themes throughout the session. The economy remains strong, but the market increasingly believes interest rates could stay higher for longer. As bond yields climbed, some profit-taking hit high-growth technology stocks around midday. SPY briefly pulled back from session highs as traders locked in gains following the recent rally. Energy markets also remained in focus. Rising oil prices and ongoing geopolitical tensions continued fueling inflation concerns, which added pressure to the broader market and reinforced worries that the Federal Reserve may delay future rate cuts. Into the early afternoon, dip buyers stepped back into equities. Financials, industrials, and AI-linked technology names helped stabilize the indexes as investors continued showing confidence in corporate earnings and overall economic resilience. Market strategists noted that this earnings season has remained much stronger than expected, with many S&P 500 companies beating analyst estimates and raising forward guidance. During the final hour of trading, SPY traded mostly sideways as institutional traders repositioned ahead of next week's economic catalysts. Buyers continued defending key support levels, while overall market momentum remained relatively constructive. By the closing bell, markets finished relatively stable despite intraday volatility. Investors are still balancing three major themes driving price action right now: strong earnings growth, higher for longer interest rates, and inflation risks tied to energy prices and geopolitical tensions. Now let's cover the major economic news from this week and what traders are watching next. The biggest macro focus remained the labor market and Federal Reserve policy expectations. Strong employment data and resilient consumer spending have caused investors to scale back expectations for multiple rate cuts this year. Inflation concerns also stayed elevated due to rising oil prices and broader geopolitical uncertainty. If energy prices continue moving higher, it could complicate the Fed's effort to bring inflation fully under control. At the same time, earnings remain the strongest bullish catalyst for the market. Analysts continue raising profit forecasts for sectors tied to AI, semiconductors, software, and cloud infrastructure. Looking ahead to next week, traders will closely watch inflation data, additional labor market reports, Treasury yield movement, Federal Reserve commentary, and continued earnings reactions across major technology companies. If inflation remains sticky and bond yields continue rising, SPY could see increased volatility near recent highs. However, if earnings momentum stays strong and economic data remains resilient, buyers may continue stepping into pullbacks aggressively. Technically, traders are watching whether SPY can maintain support near recent breakout levels while attempting another push toward fresh highs. Momentum remains bullish overall, but sentiment is becoming increasingly sensitive to economic headlines and Federal Reserve expectations. That's your full SPY market recap covering today's action from 9:30 a.m. through 4:30 p.m. Eastern.